Hey, thanks for tuning in today. I'm in Melbourne, Victoria today. For those of you outside of Australia, it's about a 2-hour flight on a good day. Today took about 2 hours and 40 minutes because of the wind. So yeah, it took a little bit longer to get here, but Melbourne is really known for having 4 seasons in one day. I went out for a run. It was sunny at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and about 3:15, clouds turned really dark. Then it started showering, so about 70% of my run was in the rain. Then it became really bright and beautiful and warm again. You really have to be prepared when you get to Melbourne. But talking about being prepared, something I do, so when I go to the airport, really depending on the trip, sometimes I'll drive in and park at the airport. Other times I'll take an Uber. And Monday mornings I tend to Uber in because getting a car park at the Brisbane airport is so intense. I've nearly missed a flight because I've been trying to find a car park at Brisbane airport. I've never missed a flight in my life. It's something I'm very proud of and something I don't ever want to change. Plane, usually I'm early. So the reason I'm sharing that is because I decided to Uber in, and last night I scheduled my Uber pickup for 6:55 a.m. Now, I don't know if you've scheduled an Uber with Uber before. I've always had, it's 100% reliable, sometimes too reliable in that if I schedule a lift for 7 a.m., sometimes I rock up at 6:40 a.m. And of course they can wait outside, but I just don't like people waiting. And so I'm just going to rush to get ready for them. So when you book in, you got to be strategic and think, if they were to show up 15 to 20 minutes early, would I still be ready at this time? So I booked mine for 6:55 this morning. That allowed me some time to do 30 minutes on the bike before I left. So get some exercise in, finalize packing, and get out the door. Here's what happened. So I did the bike ride, everything's going well, I have a shower, and I'm just having breakfast, feeling really luxe and ready for the day. And then it says your driver is on his way. And then about 30 seconds later, I get a notification saying, sorry, too far, can you please cancel? It'll be free to cancel. This notification came up on my watch. I went to the app to find it. Anyway, there was no evidence of having received this message at all. And I was like, whoa. For some reason, the driver was allocated, but I couldn't see the path he was on. And so I couldn't contact him, message him back, see sent messages or anything like that. For about 20 minutes, I'm thinking, and it's 6:30 now, I'm thinking, do I cancel this? I go into cancel. It's $25 to do it. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what can I do? So I guess it was just a waiting game. Luckily, about 10 minutes later, he comes back online. He's on his way. I can see where he is. I message him and say, hey, just checking to see you're coming over. And when I went to reach out to him, I could see that he had messaged, but for some reason I wasn't able to contact him before that. So I was just this weird 20 minutes of panic, what the hell do I do now? Anyway, ended up being fine. Obviously, I'm here, I'm in Melbourne, I made the plane. I actually, of course, got to the airport super early, so I was there an hour and 10 minutes, just kicking time in the lounge, although there was a few lines on Monday morning as to be expected. But anyway, I'm sorry, this story is quite long-winded, but there is a moment in time where you think, if I want to demonstrate extreme ownership, it's totally worth me spending $25 to cancel it, so then I can then rebook. And I feel like there was an element of Leanne that I was definitely thinking of doing that, but I also was like, okay, I do have some spare time buffered into this. If all goes to hell, by 6:40, I will make a call on this and then decide to rebook. And it reminds me of, I used to work with a lady called Arlene over in Broome, and she was the executive assistant to our managing director. And I remember her advice one day when I walked in there. I don't know how we got into the topic, but she was saying, you know what, Leanne, sometimes things just resolve themselves when you let them simmer and you let them wait and you don't jump in. And it was really good advice for me, because I'm definitely that type of person that if something is going wrong, I'm jumping in to try sort it, fix it. I'm getting involved. And I think in Western societies, we often think it's great when people, I guess, obviously people that meddle and get too involved are really annoying, but people who are generally proactive and like to solve things, it's generally a good thing. And so I guess that's been positively reinforced my whole life, my whole career. And to hear Arlene, and Arlene was a top performer as well, she just got things done. But to hear her tell me, sometimes you just got to let things simmer and leave things for a couple of days and you'll find out that they resolve themselves. It was the best advice. And so that's kind of advice that I wove in today. I'm like, surely this will resolve or something will happen, because what is the point of Uber's business model if drivers cancel when you've scheduled something in? Surely Uber will find a replacement or something else will happen. So I kind of had faith in that process and that system. Anyway, the call out is to you is that if you also are like me, you love jumping in, sorting things out, maybe sometimes it's worth it strategically being a little bit lazy, seeing what happens, seeing who else will step up as well. And while it does feel a little bit strange sometimes, a little bit really uncertain, I just want to share that idea with you today, in that, yeah, it worked out for me. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.